All right, Chris and Meredith, how's your day going?
Oh,
Um,
pretty good.
Honestly, not great. I have a heart condition and it's like in a really big flare up right now,
Oh,
but I'm
Mare.
here.
Oh, see, she's a trooper. This is a trooper here.
Are you sure you don't want to do this at another time?
Oh no, I'm good. I'm totally fine. I'm sitting in my living room. My mom is watching me in case something happens. I'm totally fine.
Gucci. All right, solid. Um, so let's talk about the movie. Before we talk about Children of Sin, which I watched today, I noticed that the two of you were also involved in Triggered
Mhm.
together. So I'm curious of your guys' history when you started, whether you guys knew each other before Triggered or if that's something where you guys met during that film.
Oh yeah, we met on a production of the musical Gypsy,
Hmm.
and she was
Like a long time
playing.
ago,
Yeah, it was like 2016
like 16 or
or
17, because I was
17.
16.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, and that
Yeah,
was like April of then, and then I think Triggered was ready to film in October of that year, and you had
right.
just turned
Because I had just turned 17.
yeah, yeah, and so we met on that, and then I kind of wrote the part in Triggered for her, and
Unknown to me.
yeah, you didn't know because now she still had to audition because I wasn't
Hmm.
sure. I just thought I'm pretty sure she can do this, but I wasn't 100% sure. And then she sent in this tape, and I was like, okay, well, sold, and then yeah, I mean, Triggered was so much fun, and then
It
she was
was.
also in Stranger Among the Living, which is a
Hmm.
small part.
Yeah,
But then
my little
wrote this part for
cameo.
her. Yeah, it's like a 3-minute part at the most, I
Yeah,
think. But I don't know why. You
it
should have
was
been in
still
the movie
fun.
more, but
Well, it's okay. You gave me a pretty big part in this one.
that's true. That is true. I made up for it.
So, when you actually wrote the character in um, Children of Sin, did
Mhm.
you have her in mind for that as well? Or is that something that you went through auditions and then thought, well, let's give Meredith a shot?
No, I did write the part for her specifically. I think she was the first one I took the script to. I think I took it to
Loved it.
her, and I think Kenny, who plays her mom, first. I think they were the first ones. Um, and then there was another actor that was supposed to play the part of Robbie, the stepdad. And I think he read the script too. I had written the part for him. He said yes. Then he broke his leg. So then we had to
Hmm.
find someone else to do it. So indie film. It's just full of surprises, and you never know what you're going to get, and it's fascinating. But I think it turned out for the best because I'm super proud of everybody in this movie. They're just ah
Everyone was just so
fantastic.
spectacular to work with.
Oh yeah.
Well, Chris, you were in this film. Um, I don't know how often you put yourself in your own films, but you did play a part in this film.
Mhm.
Is that something that you normally do or something that you were prepared to do, or did you have to replace
Oh.
somebody that you wasn't able to do their job?
It was a weird thing because I wanted to play the televangelist because usually I do write a part for myself in mind, but it's usually like a small, tiny part. And that part was just big enough to where I was like, this will be fun to do because I can maybe shoot this before the movie starts regular production, or I can shoot it after everything's been wrapped, and it'll just be nice and easy breezy. And then I couldn't find anyone to play Hank because I had written the part for him to be, I think Hank and Mary Esther were originally a married couple in the first script. And I would send it to like all these guys that were in their 50s and 60s, and they'd be like, yeah, it seems like fun, but I just don't think I can do it. And there was one particular scene that they were very nervous about doing. And if you've seen the movie, you probably have a good idea which one it is. And I think in the script, it read more explicit than it actually was because my plans on how to shoot that were always how they are in the film. But I think they got a little nervous and they said, I can't do that. And so I was like, well, crap, what am I going to do? And I was like, I really want to play the televangelist. And But I guess I could change Hank to a nephew, which actually made the whole thing a lot creepier, to be totally honest, because now it has a weird sort of incesty vibe. So I was like, why not make it creepier? And it was fun. I think I acted for 3 or 4 days at the most, and that was that. So it didn't really hurt that much.
Not to ignore Meredith, but Chris, when you were on the screen, or whenever you are on screen, do you have an assistant director that carries the camera and handles everything behind the camera?
Usually I will set up the shot and then just go ahead and get everything the way it needs to be. I'll usually have someone stand in for me when I'm trying to make sure everything's in focus and stuff like that. But then once it's going, it's just going, and there's no one there to say like, actually, you kind of went out of frame for a bit. I always have to play it back and then be like, oh great, now we have to do it again because my dumbass was like going around out of the frame, so unfortunately, no. Maybe one day that would be nice. That would be great.
So Meredith, let's
Mhm.
take you out of the shadows here for a second, pull you into the conversation. This character that you played, she seems a lot younger than you are, and I don't know how to put that without it being, but you dated
Um,
yourself when when we started. You're the one who said how old you were when you did that thing, and you said
mhm.
16 years ago. But my question is, the character seems a little younger than that. So I'm curious if that's the case, and then if so, what you do to make your character younger, because I the vibes that I'm getting from you, I know you're not feeling the best today, but the vibes I'm getting for you, and then the vibes when you were acting, the totally different, which is awesome. So I'm
I
curious
was
about,
about to say that's the best compliment you could give me.
yeah. So how do you handle it? How did you make that happen?
I mean, I'm a child in real life too. I never grew up. Um, that's a great question. I never really thought about it too hard. I just was like, I know what it's like to be 17. Really wasn't that long ago. I'm only 21. So I just kind of acted a little bit more sarcastic than normal and a little bitchier and just kind of let that kind of come out. I remember how I was at 17. I wasn't a delight.
Okay, so see, I thought you had said that you met him when you were 16 and that it was 16 years ago. So
No, that
I was like, wow, she is a lot older than she looks. That's why I was like,
no, I'm only 21.
okay, all right, now things are tracking. I was like, well, how did you play such a young character?
We're 53 years old.
That's right. I look great.
Moisturizer.
That's right.
So, Meredith, was there anything in the script when you were initially given that you kind of were like about, or like that you brought to Chris and said that maybe made you a little uncomfortable, or any notes that you had to add things to the film?
So the only thing that ever made me a little uncomfortable, and I don't want to give it away, but it was at the very, very end when we did this like stunt, and it was a little hard for me to breathe, if you get where I'm
Yeah,
talking about.
yeah.
And that was scary. And I was like, hey, how are we doing this to make sure I don't die?
Yeah, I can see that being a very scary experience.
Yes, there was a lot of trust in that.
Was this shot during the pandemic? Like, I feel like most movies that are releasing now were shot at some point during the pandemic.
Yeah, it was
Yeah.
right after the vaccines were out. So it was
Mhm.
it was last it was about a year ago I started pre-production on this. So we started shooting in June of
Mhm.
last year. So it was, I think everybody had their vaccine that was on the set, so we all felt, pretty safe, and we
Yeah,
didn't have a
it
big
wasn't really
crew, so
So, Meredith, when it comes to the actual like the institute or where you're headed, was it
Mhm.
called the Alfred
The Abraham House.
Abraham House,
Abraham?
yeah.
Thank you, the Abraham House. Um, once you got to this Abraham House, um, what was your idea in your mind of what it was going to look like in the script versus what it actually looked like when you saw the finished film?
Honestly, pretty close. I mean, I was picturing like a summer camp with like, little dorm rooms. And I mean, it was pretty much exactly what I had in my head. I remember I got there and I was like, Chris, how did you get such a perfect location? I mean, there were canoes and a lake. It looked just like a summer camp. So,
So
I mean, it was like right out of my brain.
was it actually Kool-Aid that you guys were drinking?
Oh
Yes, I
yeah,
believe it
yeah.
was.
Except it wasn't sweetened. I just sort of poured it all in this
Mm-mm.
pitcher, and it was disgusting. If you've never had unsweetened Kool-Aid, I don't recommend it. It tastes like sand. It's not good. It's disgusting.
I'm so
Yeah.
happy that I never really had to drink it because I was just like,
That's
Emma's not
right.
going to drink that. She's not going to do anything these people want her to do.
That's right. I think you just had to pour it into everyone
Yeah,
else's glass, and
everybody else
everyone
had to
else
drink
did.
it.
Yeah.
I had to take like a sip. It was not
Yeah.
bad.
So, Chris, what do you think the biggest challenge was when it came to creating this film? Like, obviously, you had a more bare bones, not only a kind of a bare bones cast, kind of a minimalized cast, but probably a bare bones behind the scenes crew as well, due to it being in the height of the pandemic. So, I'm curious, what was the biggest facet of like holding you back or making you think, like, crap, this might not work?
Uh well, now I am used to working with a very tiny crew, so that was actually nice. I was like, now I have an excuse to have no crew. This is awesome. Um, but I think that the toughest thing was we only had the Abraham House location for 5 days, so we had to squeeze in everything in 5 days, which was tough. But the cast was so great, and everybody knew their lines. They were on time. It was fantastic. I mean, truly, it was a dream to the point where I thought, okay, well, the hard part's done. So then we moved to the other location, and that's when we found out, oh no, our actor broke his leg. What are we gonna do? And that was a whole just can of worms that I wasn't expecting because I foolishly thought Abraham House is going to be the toughest part. The rest, easy breezy. And then that happened. And I was like, oh, I was so like, just, I didn't know what to do. So when he didn't show up and then he was like, hey, I actually broke my leg, so I won't be in the film. We were like, okay, so everybody else is here. So why don't we shoot the stuff we were planning to shoot the next day, and we did that, and everybody was great, even though none of us were really prepared for it. And I was like, I've got my shot list for that all back home, and I was like, I don't know what to do. I think I was going to shoot it like this. I'm not sure. So we were all just flying by the seam of our pants. And so that was probably the toughest thing. I think there were some problems with the microphone the first 2 days of the shoot. That was a problem. And then I think once we moved from Abraham House, we fixed it. And then the boom pole kept breaking. And I was like, what? I was like, what is happening? This is like, just, please let us be. Just give us something to go right, please. And finally it did. And then everything was great. But mostly it was a lovely experience, and everything worked out for the best. And I'm so thrilled that it turned out basically exactly as I hoped it would.
So was the name Children of Sin always what you had planned on calling it, or did you have a
Mhm.
different name when it was in production?
I'm trying to remember if I had a different name before I turned in the script. I think once the script was out and I was casting, it was already Children of Sin, but there might have been another title. Um, I almost want to say there was, but it must have not been very good because I cannot remember it to save my life. So it's probably for the best that it was not called that.
Sure. So you obviously you like to focus on thriller slasher films.
Oh yeah.
Um, and the same thing for you, Meredith. Is that something that you guys are looking forward to continue, like the same genre you guys are looking forward to working together with, or would you guys like to explore something different?
Personally, I would do anything Chris made, horror, not horror. I love doing horror movies with him. I'm a huge horror fan, but yeah, I would do anything Chris made, honestly.
I mean, I love all genres. I'm not big on maybe westerns, but just a personal taste. I don't know. But I don't know. Like, I mean, I personally, I'd love to do a musical, but the problem is that I can't pay for the rights to get like a big name production, and I don't know anyone that writes music that would work well for a musical, so I can't do an original score. But maybe one day, I'm not gonna say never because that would be fun.
That would be
We
That would
awesome.
be so fun.
a
That'd be awesome.
horror musical. I don't know. That
Yeah,
might be
no,
fun.
yeah, that would be
That'd be
dope.
Yeah.
cool. Why not?
Like
Yeah,
Evil
yeah.
Dead, the musical.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
I love that.
I'd be into that.
that'd be dope. So, as far as Meredith, is there anything coming up? Well, actually, spoiler alert, I'm going to dive into a few spoiler questions. That's Children of Sin before we continue. Um, Real quick question. As far as the bag scene where
Yeah.
you had mentioned like you had trouble, I imagine that's the same scene, Chris, where the actor was not comfortable doing it.
Oh no.
Oh
No,
no.
that was another scene. That was the scene that has now been referred to as the sin stick scene.
Yep. Hashtag sin
Um,
stick.
yes, we just had the premiere for the film, I think 2 weeks ago, and I've just been getting like texts and messages that are just like sin stick, and I'm like, I don't know why y'all keep doing this. This is ridiculous. And no, this one, we were all like a little on edge about this particular scene though, because we weren't sure how it was going to work. But Jeff and Meredith kind of had a system because we put a
Mhm.
hole in the bag so that she could still breathe. But there was one shot, I think it was like a 5-second shot where we actually
Yeah.
had to put the bag full tilt on her head because
Yeah.
you had to see her inhaling the plastic. So that
Mm,
scene was like I think she had some code with Jeff where like if she
yeah.
was uncomfortable, you'd like squeeze his arm or
hmm
something. Yeah.
Yeah, I would
That's
just pat
cool.
him just real quick. I would just pat him and he would immediately get off of me and take the bag off my head.
Yeah.
That's cool. That's awesome. So, as far as the wanted posters go, there was one at the beginning and then there was one at the end. And I couldn't get back to the beginning, but was the one at the beginning, was that the person that was in the Abraham house?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
I thought so.
Fun fact, that's my boyfriend.
It's true. Yeah. hmm And there was
Oh, yeah.
originally a prologue to the film where we kind of see him and how he was sort of captured and taken there, but people got kind of confused, and so it was cut out. But it exists. If there's a Blu-ray, then it'll be on there.
Is there anything else that was deleted that would be included in a director's cut?
I'm trying to think. I think most of the script made it on screen. I think there's a few lines that we cut out at the most. I think that was mainly just for time. I think there was one scene that was sort of half shot where Emma walks in on Mary Esther cooking up what she thinks is pork, but it turns out to be something else.
Right.
That was supposed to take place right before that scene, but we just cut that because it was like, who cares? Let's just get to the main good stuff.
Right. Oh, and I loved the way it was. It's like, well, you might be able to taste her too. So, was there anything else on the plate that kind of gave that away? Because obviously, when I can't think of his name, but Meredith's brother and the
Oh,
Jackson.
Jackson.
Jackson,
Yeah.
yeah. When he pulls the thing out of
Oh,
his mouth, That's obvious tell, but was there anything that was on their plates that was a giveaway that they were eating their friend?
I don't think so. I mean, they didn't really seem to know until the hair thing. So, I don't know because I was always told that human flesh looks like pork if you cook it. So I was like, well, let's use pork because I did research. Okay, I was like, what is the closest thing? Which now I'm probably on like some sort of a weird like government list now because I was just like searching like what is the closest to human flesh, and they were like pork. It would look like that,
Yeah,
and
you googled you googled how to make human flesh.
yeah, yeah,
What's the closest thing that human flesh tastes like?
yes, how to serve man, and they were like, oh no, oh, now I got the government agents outside, like, oof,
We had a
Lord.
cat on screen, but we lost him.
Oh,
Oh, my cat.
the
Yeah.
kitty.
He's right here. Hang on. Romeo. That's my boyfriend.
It's the Romeo.
Nice,
Oh,
nice.
He was wanting my attention. Oh, my shirt fell. He was wanting my attention, so I had to pick him up, or else he was just gonna knock my water cup over until, because he's a cat.
Right. Yeah, no, mine is doing the same thing. But so that's mostly most of the questions that I have for Children of Sin. I really like the banner at the or the have you seen this, missing kid thing at the end reflecting the beginning. Um, um, I guess my curiosity with the name you chose, um, was it, can you kind of explain why, like what was behind the Children of Sin, whether it was um, like just about the children and the sins that they do, or the sins of the people who have sent them there and are taking care of them in the house?
I mean, it's really all of them. I mean, they're all in some ways children of sin. It's just that the adults don't seem to realize that they're doing things that are far worse than what their kids are doing. Like they're so hypocritical. I mean, the stepfather, I mean, he's a monster, and yet he thinks these two kids need to be changed. It's like it's Mary Esther. She really believes that she knows what she's doing and that she's going to help these kids. That's her goal, and she doesn't have a clue what she's doing. She's so lost herself. It's the blind leading the blind here, and so really it was supposed to be a kind of all encompassing thing. All of them are these children of sin.
And I really like the fake out, like the homage to horror movies. Obviously, the monster always it's dead but not dead. But the
Yeah.
fake out was just, I see Jesus, and then it's like you realize that it's not Jesus she sees, and she's just like,
Yes, like,
it's
oh
like,
crap,
oh,
this isn't going to be good for me.
that ain't Jesus.
I think that's one of my favorite parts of the film, and it was always one of the first things that I saw when I was coming up with the idea. Just this idea of someone so sure that they know the right way to live. They're so sure that they have all the steps to get into heaven, and they're so excited about it that they're willing to die to get there. And then at the end, it's it's not going to happen. And so
Right.
whatever she sees, whether it's the devil or God telling her, you screwed up, or else maybe it's absolutely nothing. Maybe she just only sees darkness and there's no heaven or hell. And I wanted to leave that up to the interpretation of both the actress, Joanne, playing the part, and the audience, so you're not really sure what they're seeing. And there was a moment when I thought maybe I'll add some like thunder and like crazy lights and stuff. I was like, that's a little much. That would be a bit much to have it,
Off
the
the
ground just opens and she's like swallowed in, like that might be a bit much. But
I just remember watching Joanne do the scene over and over again and just being so terrified every time. She
yeah.
just killed it.
Oh, she's so great in this, man. Oh, it's such a great
Sorry.
performance.
My
Well,
computer's trying to die. There we go.
Meredith, to actually jump off of that really quick, were there any other actors or actresses do you feel like you had a specific vibe with that it was easier for you to handle your scenes together with, or even just like that chemistry kind of built you better as an actress?
So from the moment I walked in, the other children of sin at the camp and I mean, it was like a giant group hug and lots of jokes and laughs. And I was like, which one of you is my brother? And of course, Lewis Hines Jackson was like me. And I just immediately ran up and grabbed him and hugged him. And he picked me up and spun me around. And from like that moment on, we still call each other brother and sister. We talk. I talk to him today, actually. We talk regularly. He comes out with me when I go out partying or something. He goes with me. He's the best, but the whole cast and I, or not just me, the whole cast was just instantly connected and it was so deep. And we have a group chat and we still talk on it almost every day.
That's
So
awesome.
honestly, all of them. Joanne taught me when I went to a summer camp. So it was really cool to act with Joanne, especially on such a deep level with all of our scenes. But honestly, it was everybody.
That's cool. So before we wrap, I just wanted to make sure you guys have an opportunity. Is there anything about Children of Sin that people haven't asked that you would like to say?
Oh, that's a good one.
It is a good one.
I don't know. Oh no, the pressure's on now. Okay.
That's the
Your
one.
mind just goes blank.
That is the one question that gets everyone.
I'm trying to think.
Everyone always like, oh, no one's ever asked me that before.
What do they need to know? Well, I mean, it comes out on Amazon April 22nd, so check it out. And if you have any questions about it, then I mean, we're both on social media. You can just be like, why'd you do this? Why'd you do that? And we'll try to answer as best we can. But
Yeah.
So last question, actually, because something you said had made me think it. You sorry, I have a really bad memory. You had mentioned that you know what? No big deal. I am curious then, now that Children of Sin's behind you, what are you guys looking to do? You guys have any projects in the can? Anything that you'd like to promote that you need you'd like a platform to do so in?
I have a podcast. It's called Homos on Haunted Hill. It's fun. It's a good time. And so I'm working on that, and then I've got a bunch of ideas that I'm sort of trying to figure out which one I'm gonna do next. I've got about four or five that I really like, but sometimes you just have to figure out which one is the most complete and then start to write. So I'm not sure yet. I'm not really sure, but it's going to be fun, whatever it is.
How about you, Meredith? Other than holding that cat, what else you got on the docket?
Well, I've been doing a lot of modeling lately, so you can go check out my Instagram page. I'm just at Meredith_Mohler. Would like to promote that. I'm still kind of new at it, but I've been doing a lot of that. Chris and I are both members of the Detectives Dinner Theater. We're both in multiple shows with that. We do shows multiple times a week normally together. So we see a lot of each other. Huh?
Is this in Cali?
Mississippi.
Oh, no, yeah.
Oh,
yeah, we're from Mississippi.
Okay.
But I'm planning to move to California very, very soon. It's
So,
like as soon as we can sell our house.
Yeah, the market is crazy right now.
Mhm.
Like the selling part is very easy. The buying part is a pain in the ass.
I
Yeah.
bet.
But yeah, I hope you make it to California with no problems. So you know that you guys plugged everything. You guys you know did everything. Is there anyone on the movie that you would like to give a shout out to? Anybody who worked on the film?
All of them. I love them all. Like this, as she was saying, this is probably the most connected cast that I've ever had on any film set. I mean, they were friends from the get-go. And
Mhm.
like she said, they're still friends. That never happens. It just doesn't.
No.
Well, that's awesome. And when I finally figure out what question I was going to ask you, because it was a good one, I will send it to you and have it added to the article.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Other than that, I am going to go ahead and stop the recording.